And here we go. Welcome to our Success Mastermind for Monday, the 4th of April, 2022. John Lavenia here with you. 4th already, huh? I felt like we just had April Fools just a couple hours ago. Man, well, we did have a weekend. So welcome back, everyone. It's Monday. I do want to apologize in advance. I am expecting a call from a contractor who's supposed to come here and work on some stuff. So that could happen at any moment. But you know what? I'm expecting that it's not going to happen till we're done. So we should be just fine. Hey, Gail, good to see you as well. Today on the calendar, we do have a couple things. We have our general session, which is happening right now. And of course, we also have our book study group, which is happening at 9 p.m. Eastern US time, where we're covering at least chapter 5, probably 5 and 6 from this book. We've spent like 2 weeks just on chapter 4 or 3 and 4. But there's a lot in here. So Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff, one of my favorite sales books. Okay. Obviously everything that, that I've studied has some origin in, philosophy and psychology, of course, sales and communications and all the things that he talks about as just another application of, what I would call right thinking. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk with you about here today. It's rare that I come up with a title before I actually hear what comes out of my mouth, but I just did. I just thought, you know what? I was just studying this, and I think I want to regurgitate upon you what I was just studying, not from that book, but from a different book. Which, by the way, in there's a tip: read from a couple different sources contemporaneously. All right, meaning in the same general time period. I remember hearing, who was it? It was Donald Trump. He was meeting some guy. It was business, and this guy was relating his meeting with the Donald, and he said, upon meeting Trump, he was asked, "What 3 books are you reading right now?" Like that's how. Now again, this is hearsay. I wasn't there, okay, but that was a question that was asked by Donald of this other business executive. Hey, so what 3 books are you reading right now? Interesting that he would ask a question like that. So read from a few different sources because you can get multiple perspectives and kind of rattle those around in your brain and see what you can actually put to use. Understand that when we read this stuff, some of you have experienced the phenomenon of forgetting. Some of you, not all of you, but we all do. So that which is not real or useful to us right now, we could tend to neglect or forget or whatever. But in the case of your life, right, if you're taking in ideas from a couple different sources and breaking it up, so it's not the monotony of just one author. Just like for example, if I'm the only person you listen to, well, that could be a bit monotonous. I mean, some of you, we've been hanging around for years, right? I could be like a family member, and we know we don't listen to our family members. We need to break it up, right? In fact, my wife, we had a laugh about this. She got some great advice from somebody else. And there's the trick. It was somebody else. It wasn't me. Could it be the same exact thing that I told her? But, as long as it's not covered for me, a prophet is not welcome in his hometown, right? So, so break it up, get some different perspectives, right? And now this makes more sense because you heard this guy over here and he said it differently than the other guy. It's just smart. It's smart. So read from a few different sources contemporaneously, which means in the same general time period. So back to the idea that I wanted to share with you, which is Thinking Truth. Can you guess which book this comes from? It's one that I go back to. If there's one book that I lean on again and again and again while I'm reading all different other books, it's The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, because it's so brief and yet so packed with nuggets and not just philosophy, but pragmatics. In fact, that's the first line of the book. You open up The Science of Getting Rich. This book is pragmatic, not philosophical. Oh boy. Wow. I'm listening. So this stuff is for use, is what he's saying. And I know we've kicked that around a bunch of times. The idea that no matter what, the data is that all education is for use, not for you to sit there and, have a head full of theory that doesn't, actually isn't workable. Or, I mean, who knows, right? If you're not going to use it. right? We want stuff to actually work. But one of the concepts in that book is the idea of thinking truth. In fact, Waddell said to think truth even when contrary to appearances. And to do so is laborious and requires the expenditure of more energy than any other labor which man must do. Most people shrink from sustained and consecutive thought. That is the hardest work in the world. Okay, so what does he mean by this? Thinking truth. I want to tell you a little about, give you a couple ideas here that you can use on, and tell you a little bit about how I attempt to think truth more consistently than not throughout my days. By the way, I'm having a really bad hair day, as you can see. I'm really fluffy today. It's been a Florida kind of day, and I need to like put some gel or something. Anyway, deal with it. This isn't about glamour, Gail, right? I'll get lipstick on later. Don't worry about it. So thinking truth. All right. So thinking, let's use those two words, thinking. Let's start with that one. Thinking. All right. So what is thinking? Well, mental activity. Okay. But not all thinking is created equal, right? I mean, if you consider for a moment that most of us, in fact, I would say virtually everyone, we have many of the same thoughts that we had previously. In other words, we're not originating an idea, like an impulse of, here's a new original concept. But, here is phone, right? I'm thinking here is phone. Okay. And guess what I thought yesterday? Yesterday, I thought here is phone. So it's the same stories over and over and over again. Let me make sure that's not the guy. All right. That's not the guy. Waiting for the contractor guy. So we tend to rehash because it's comfortable, you see. And yeah, memory has its uses, right? Memory is one of those mental faculties which helps us survive on the planet. And we can remember that worked yesterday and that could work again today. That's good, nice, okay. But how many people you hear people talking a lot, not saying much, but talking much. And they're saying what they heard somebody else say, or they're saying what they heard on the news, or they're enacting. And I see this in my daughter all the time. I see her personality emerging as a tween. That's a word, by the way, tween. That's preteen, not a child, but a tween. All right. So yeah, there you go. But she is influenced by that which she hears in her peer groups and on video and whatever. Okay. So are those original thoughts? No. In fact, you could take the entire English language and say, you know what, this existed before I showed up here. It keeps evolving, and maybe I have originated one or two words on there just by happenstance. But there's this communication's been going on, and we can relay. Here's tradition. Here's back in the days of yore. Here's what was workable when we sat round the campfire and picked the saber-toothed cat meat out of our teeth with the sticks. Okay, so that's good, and I think we need to remember our history, but the best way to predict the future is to create it. And how many of us are actually doing that? In other words, how many of us are actually thinking? Thinking is work. Okay, to sit there, contrary to appearances or memory or what was workable yesterday, but to sit there and originate an impulse of thought, which is, this is what I want. Now, a lot of people, when they think about what they want, they're thinking about what they think they can accomplish based on what seems reasonable, based on what their memory and reason, of course, which is another mental faculty, which is based on the past, based on the known. So when we attempt to employ a higher level of thinking, we're looking to get into the realm of the unknown. In other words, not physically demonstrated yet, can't lay our hands on it objectively yet, but we're originating an impulse of thought, desire, intention, okay, independent independent of what we demonstrated yesterday. So a lot of people want to identify as independent people. I'm independent. I'm for freedom and liberty and independence. Boy, that sounds great. Are you? I can tell you for myself, I'm quite dependent on many knowns and things that I've already, at least in my assessment, already worked out as, this is good and right and workable, right? Here are these data. And so these are knowns, and I'm dependent on those. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Again, memory serves. So, just say, for example, don't go around murdering people. All right, that's a good thing to remember. I know that, and I'm dependent on that knowingness. But because I've got that stable rock, here's that particular datum. Okay, I now can go and I can free my mind to go do other more creative stuff. But do I? That's the question. Now that you've got all this stuff that you can depend on, are you flexing your mental muscles to develop these higher mental faculties like imagination, intuition, which in many cases have been beaten out of you? Imagination, little Johnny, you're a daydreamer. Get with the program. Right. So are you developing these higher mental faculties, or are you resting on the knowns? Again, it's good and right to have stable data that okay, but that frees you up to do what? That frees you up to, no, that's still not the guy. Sorry, I keep looking at my phone here. I'm waiting for some notification that the guy is coming. But that frees you up to do what? To do other things with your mental energies. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Many of us, in fact, I would say all of us, just by nature of doing the human thing, right? We default to the path of least resistance. I learned this when I was in school learning to become a diesel mechanic, and we were talking about electricity and how electricity takes the path of least resistance, just like you guys do. That was part of our lecture. You will take the path of least resistance. If you don't have to do it, you won't do it. Okay. Well, same thing with electricity. If electricity doesn't have to go through the motor, it won't. If you give it an opportunity to just short out, to hit ground, to do whatever it's going to do, no work is going to get done. It's not going to go through this motor, which is a resistor. It's going to take the path of least resistance and avoid the motor. So we learned about electrical theory in that way, and it was related to the idea of the path of least resistance, which most people take. You right now, I'll guarantee it, you right now have not spent the last 20, 30 years of your life having your life threatened 2 or 3 times a day by saber-toothed cats and dinosaur and whatever. Okay, you haven't. And so did you, because now you've been freed up, you see, from saber-toothed cats and having your life threatened 3 times a day, have you now chosen other physical endeavor to be the king caveman or woman and to, be able to kill wildebeests with your club? No, you didn't. You took the path of least resistance. You got soft. No cat, leisure time, path of least resistance. See that? Aha. So because you could survive, because all of us can survive with using, 10% of our mental powers, and most of that stuff is already stuff we already know. We're not learning anything. Well, where's the progress in that? Where's the thinking? Thinking is work. It's easier to go club wildebeests with a club. Right? I mean, that is actually less work. Surviving, having your life threatened 3 times a day is actually less work than like original thought. This is the hardest work in the world. And we can't do it if all we do is rest on, here's what I'm dependent on. Here's all these thoughts. It's the same thoughts I had yesterday. Nothing original, no advancement, no impulse, no intent, except to survive based on this little bit that got me through yesterday. I'm not accusing you of anything that I wouldn't accuse myself of also. I think I'm just stating the obvious. So when we say thinking, it's a tall order. What do we have to do this? Well, we've got to at least get to a blank canvas, right? It's kind of hard to paint a picture that you could imagine, right, on a canvas that's already messed up with all of yesterday's thoughts, right? If I handed you a canvas, let's say you're an artist, okay? I've actually done this in workshops, and here's it's a mess. It's a freaking mess. All right, now go make me a picture. Here's the mess that you're to draw on top of. Go make me a beautiful picture now. Good luck. So, and this we could say is the value of not only putting in right thinking, with studying your books and lectures and all this, but sit there, get quiet. Some people, take a walk, a meditative experience, but whatever you can do to get just a little bit of space on that canvas, a little bit of space, so you can have an original idea. Okay. Now, what is that idea? Remember, the whole concept is to think truth. To think truth. Okay, great. So, and thinking truth, contrary or regardless of appearances. So we cleared out those appearances. We got a little bit of blank canvas there. All right, what is the truth? So we covered thinking. We just solved the mysteries of thought in 16 minutes. No, we didn't. There's a whole lot more to talk about on that. Truth. What is truth? We're going to solve that one now in even less time. So woe unto all the philosophers who have ever come before us, right? So truth. Well, here is something that I've accepted, is that when I have a belief, a reality, a truth that is workable for me, that becomes my truth. And I've been disabused, in other words, proven wrong. Okay, I've been disabused of erroneous beliefs throughout my life, which have proven unworkable or have not served me. And I have more, by the way, that I'm still working on. Right, I've got beliefs that don't serve me. Getting quiet for a moment and looking at these patterns that keep showing up in my life, and these things that I do or don't do, these efforts that I make or don't make, these decisions that I accept or reject, can reveal what my truth is for me. Well, here's a truth that if you want to go and get biblical about it, was it Paul who said that God's, oh man, I'm going to paraphrase here, but your desire is God seeking expression through you. In other words, the truth is that omnipotence, all-knowingness, universal, energy, right? The law of all laws, that which is behind all of it, creation, the creator, is seeking to have these experiences through you. So in other words, your desire, here's a truth, if you'd like, your desire is divinity, God, seeking expression through you. And that's why you have that desire. And therefore, it's God's will for you. And therefore, there's no need to question it. Hence, holding ourselves back or failing to think about ways we can accomplish this, to demonstrate, to manifest this, would be what? Being completely dependent on the known, not venturing into new areas, new original ideas and intentions and impulses of thought, because we deny the truth. And the truth is that that's where we're going. That's the experience we're meant to have. The truth is that the universe is conspiring for my greater good, because it is that's how it experiences itself, through me as me. I know I'm getting into more like spiritual talk here, okay? And I'm not telling you you have to adopt this truth. I'm just telling you, for me, thinking truth, regardless of appearances, means having enough mental space to remember that, you know what, I'm going to reach every goal I set. Because it wasn't even 100% mine. I mean, yeah, it's experiencing the higher self, experiencing it as, this John thing or whatever, but experiencing the higher self, that's the truth. And I wouldn't have been given a desire or an impulse of thought, it wouldn't have come through me if I didn't also have the means for its fulfillment. I've been told that there is no emotional or capricious God or energy that says, oh, you guys, you can have all this, but John, I'm going to give you this desire and you can't get it. right? I mean, that's come on. Come on. Now, I know there's been some religious schools of thought that have celebrated poverty, and somehow it's pious to be poor as a church mouse and all this. Okay. I think that is a complete misinterpretation of scripture, if you ask me. But what's your truth? What's true for you? That you were born to struggle, to dress in rags and live in a hovel? Is that your truth? Is that your lot in life? I hope not. It's not a laughing matter. You've got some great ideas. Well, they're seeking expression through you. Can you remember that even in down statistics, even in the face of adversity, even under the circumstances of modern life? Can you remember? Because look, I think we all want to be remembered, right? We all want to leave a legacy. We all want to have, don't we all want to be known, like at your funeral, right? Here's the grandkids, and they're saying, Lindsay was a visionary, and she did the thing that no one else did, right? And I mean, that sounds cool, right? I mean, we all have inside of us, right? We have what? Causation and intention and desire and a higher self, right? Bigness. We have that inside of us. We all want to be the person who is recognized as part of the solution. So why don't we reach? Well, there's limits to everything, and there's circumstances, and you know what? I failed yesterday and nobody else did. And right. As Waddle said, to think truth, especially when it is contrary to appearances, is laborious and requires the expenditure of more energy than any other work that man is capable. Stewart's back. Hey, brother. So you missed the entire lecture. We're going to open it up for a conversation now. But thinking truth, thinking, okay. So we covered that. And then truth, we covered that as much as we can in this brief session. So understand that when we do this, it's a very individual approach. And this is why, despite the narrative of, it takes a village and, all the other socialist leaning stuff. Well, let me say this. It takes a village of what? It takes a village of people who can actually think and produce. It takes powerful individuals as component parts of any powerful group, causative individuals to cause any cause to occur, right? I'm thinking in terms of like groups now, right? Here's our cause, here's our purpose. Okay, great. Well, then go be cause then. Be causative, in other words, right? Think truth. And the truth is that desire is divinity seeking expression through you. And remember that and think on that, regardless of appearances. And that you will reach every goal you set, every goal, every desire, every intention. Rather than marrying appearances, marry the vision of where you're going, regardless of appearances. That is a much harder task. And like I was saying before, much easier it would be to be, clubbing saber-toothed cats 3 times a day because they're threatening your life, right? That's, whatever. You build nice muscles on that. But this is subjective. This is an objective. This is like, wow, okay. Here's I think the tragic and hopeful part of all this is that if you listen to guys like Earl Nightingale and other people who have talked about this philosophy, that we've got more power and ability than we can ever accomplish. Like your greatest weapon is your mind. Like the amount of power. What did Nightingale liken it to? He said, I was driving through eastern Arizona and I saw one of those giant earth moving machines. And perched up on top was a little man at the wheel, guiding it and directing it. What if he had just sat back and folded his arms and let it run itself into a ditch? Right? He likened that to the mind. Here's this tremendous power. Just sit there and let it run itself into a ditch. That's what most people do. Tragic and hopeful, because now, if we can recognize, wow, this is powerful. This is more powerful than my club. I don't need the club right now anyway. There's no saber-toothed cats. Let me drive this thing. Let me think truth. And let me demonstrate that in common hours, right? Here's one of the other thoughts, which are, we could say contra to your demonstration is, well, it's going to take a long time. Well, it's going to be, do you realize that when I project it out, here's what the work it's going to take to reach this goal. Do you realize that I'll be such and such years old at that point? Well, you're going to be that old anyway. What are you going to do? I think the contractor is here. I'm not sure. I'm hearing a dog bark. So what I'm going to do is stop talking for a moment and look out the window. If you guys would humor me, the floor is open. Somebody, if you can come on out and pick up where Gail's got to go. Okay. The topic is thinking truth. I will be right back. No, false alarm. I didn't interrupt anyone. Mandy was about to speak. Hi, Mandy. No, it was just Stuart putting you on the spot. That's how that goes. All right. So did I just put you all to sleep? Here's what I would suggest. Write one thing that you want, not what you think you're going to accomplish. What do you really want? One demonstration, one experience. Okay, whether you think you can get it or not, but it's the thing that keeps you up at night. It's the burning desire, that one thing. Okay. And it could be, one thing that includes lots of other little things, but we've been admonished, well, I have, again and again, to take thought for the vision, because where there is no vision, the people perish, right? But to write down in as many details, with as many details as you can, your goal statement, your vision for yourself. And I'm not talking about just like a gold card, that I've been admonished to do that too, but to make a kind of like a journal entry. And you could do this every day. You could do this. See, one of my dogs just walked past. Yeah, it was Jag. Yeah. He's a scaredy dog. He's going to go hide behind my daughter's bed. That's what he does most of the day. He hides. I'm not sure what his history was before being rescued, but go ahead and write down. Okay, sit there, get quiet. See yourself already in possession of the good that you desire, and then write it out and crystallize that and make it real. Okay, so this takes time though, right? So why wouldn't we do that? Well, I'm busy. Okay, you get to be busy. So guys, I'm thinking that as we enter the fourth month, but the second quarter, because Q1 is done. How about that, guys? Q1 is done. As we enter this second quarter, why don't we do so with not only intention, but with clarity. So thinking truth, getting clear about where I'm going with this. What do I really want? Write that down. And then write it down, with the vision of having already accomplished it. It's not I want, right? That's not what we're affirming. I want, okay? But writing down, this is the truth of my being. This is what's burning inside of me. This is what drives me. And I don't even know if I can get it right out in the open world. I'm not, I haven't done it yet. So I don't know how to reach this goal, but I do know that I can get it, because there's a higher intelligence than just me and what I know. There's thinking truth. And then let the appearances be what they are. Okay. But I can tell you right now, this is, I think, essential essential, especially in the face of appearances, especially in the face of this shit show of whatever the hell's going on in various parts of the planet right now. I feel very blessed that, to whatever degree I have, free enterprise and the liberty to do this and that. There's a lot of people in the world who right now have, there goes Jag again. It's going to hide somewhere else. That I've had the opportunity to flex my entrepreneurial muscles, to even do simple things like show up at the gym and buy a new house and all this kind of stuff. There's lots of people who have allowed themselves or have been even born into much less opportunity than that. I think everyone who's here right now, we've got a rare opportunity to do something profound. And if not now, then when? Those are my thoughts for you today. Well, I talked for a half hour. That just happened. I could talk for like hours more on this. This whole topic has just, man, I just talk about piercing right through all the BS. Think truth. Now, if Missy was here right now, she would talk about Neville Goddard and how you just need to Neville Goddard it. She's turned that into a verb. All right. So, but understand that when we do this stuff, this is just the movement of thought. We haven't even talked about lifting a finger yet. All right. But you will lift a finger. You will, because you marry the outcome, not the circumstances. You marry the outcome. And then you see yourself, suddenly you're moving. Right. That doesn't happen without knowing that you can. So all of this whole idea of thinking truth is to augment what? Your acceptance of the truth that you can. May not seem real based on appearances, okay? But truth is higher than reality. Maybe that's the punchline, right? The truth is prior to my thoughts about it. And I've been wrong a lot, right? So much for what I think based on yesterday, okay? Where are we going with this? And we can originate. Have you not seen people completely transform their lives? Typically after like some major loss, life-threatening, whatever, near death, right? And suddenly they're like, you know what, enough with that story. How much time do I got here? And they changed their whole life. Here's the person who had been struggling and trying to lose weight or quit smoking or whatever the story was. But that story isn't anymore. Total transformation. Doesn't take a long time. So much for all my considerations about how long this is going to take. I just got to marry the truth, even if I don't know how to demonstrate it yet. Anyway, love you guys. Thank you for being here with me. Last call. Anybody wants to talk? Come on out. I'm going to be back here with you at 9 p.m. We're going to do chapters 5 and probably 6 from Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. So dig into those chapters if you haven't already. I will announce also that Mandy runs our Books for Britain on Wednesdays, and they are reading a completely different book than we are. So tune in. Mandy, do you want to say something about that?
We're reading The Four Tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who it's by now, but yeah, The Four Tendencies. So it's basically 4 different types of people that are there: upholders, questioners, obligers, and what was the last? Rebels. So who you are. We're now on to the obliger. So I think we've got 2 more to go.
Sounds like some interesting content. I've not read it, so that's great. By the way, those colors are awesome on you. So very stylish, Mandy.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I'll see you back here at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Make it a great day. You absolutely